just go over what the show's, whatever the show's about. And again, my name is Dave Jenkins with Iterate.ai. Today we are talking about South by Southwest and AI. So just in general, South by is a engaged, positive, and somewhat liberal towards the future. It's full of creatives. It started as a music festival in the 70s and it's gone on, but then the interactive element has come in. So there's music, film, interactive, and comedy now. And so it's very much full of creatives. It's South by, started with 700 people, and now it's over 300,000 attendees. Brings in quite a bit of money for my town here in Austin. I'm from Austin, Texas. So the major tracks in the interactive portion of the festival reflect this. We've got artificial intelligence, robots of voice, smart data, entertainment, extended reality, and Web3, which is probably by next year, I think will be spatial computing is what they'll just call it. Food, nutrition, and health, and the future of work, innovative world, and smart cities. In every one of these categories, there was a number of sessions about what's the latest with AI, or will AI enhance or kill creativity? The Apple Vision Pro came out, but what about AI? Will AI replace us, or will AI save us? Again, both, yes, right? And where is AI shining through? So just to go back a little bit, South by was closed for 2 years, maybe 3 years, for the pandemic. And just because, you know, we couldn't have 300,000 people running around coughing on each other. And so they did the smart thing. They shut South by down. But that actually kind of, it's made a sea change with South by. Before the pandemic, South by was very big. It was on its way to becoming kind of a mega conference. It was second only to CES as far as the tech world was concerned. Google, Microsoft, Sony, all the big houses, well, all the big players, they would actually rent a house or rent a venue across the street from the convention center, and they would just have an open house all week long. It's cost millions of dollars. They would actually vinyl wrap entire buildings with, you know, Google or Microsoft or Sony, whatever it might have been. Millions and millions and millions of dollars are spent. After COVID, South by has been back in action since last year. And so after COVID, attendance has rebounded. It's back up to 300,000 people, but the big brands are not there anymore. They've realized that this conference has fundamentally changed. And just in general, festivals and conferences, and especially tech conferences, not everyone has to be there. LinkedIn, in my opinion, LinkedIn now has kind of filled the gap as kind of the social ongoing newsfeed announcement for technology. And so now big brands and big tech announcements pretty much just kind of happen with press releases and LinkedIn and videos, and no one's waiting around for the big conference anymore. So the big players are gone, and South by might be better off because South by is kind of returning back to its roots. The startups are the main focus, and there's definitely a very progressive vibe about the whole thing. Now, compared to these other conferences, like I mentioned, South by is not CES. CES in Las Vegas, the Consumer Electronics Show, is the first thing in in January. It's all about hardware, from the smallest little wiring harness and chip to the largest manufacturers of LG and Sony and Siemens, who spend lots of money on huge pavilions. Panasonic, as you can see right there in the photo. CES is all about the hardware and the applications that power that hardware. The big software giants, Google, Salesforce, Microsoft, they all have their own walled gardens now. They essentially have their own sponsored conferences, Google I/O or Salesforce Dreamforce or Microsoft Inspire, where essentially the big brand can control the entire narrative. And so it's Salesforce and all of Salesforce's related partners and vendors, and it's very much a Salesforce rally for 3 days or 4 days or whatever that might be. With these big houses spending this kind of money on a much more effective walled garden, they're just not coming to South by anymore. And again, okay, less money for the conference, but maybe better off for the startups because they're not just getting blinded by the big dogs across the street. Now, let's go to the central issues for a second. As I had mentioned earlier, South by runs 4 concurrent festivals: interactive, film and TV, music, and comedy. This naturally pushes the attending demographic towards creative and media-focused marketers. Technology must blend with these creatives. And here you can see, this is the schedule from this year. We've got culture and fashion and food, these ongoing tracks, advertising, brand experience. These are all interactive things. but then you've got the film and TV going on at the exact same time, literally across the street or in another part of the convention center. And then the music festival starts 3 days after the interactive, but the interactive still continues through. So the whole artificial intelligence and music is running at the same time. So you get the very creative edge of both worlds playing together and having dinner together and eating tacos together and drinking together. That's kind of the whole magic of South by. And it's anecdotal, but it's true. Every time I've been to South by, you actually find better connections and you find cooler things with the people you're eating tacos with after the show, instead of actually at the conference. So come on down. We'll hang out. You're all welcome here to come down to Austin, right? But to continue on the thread about AI, is it good or bad? Well, again, both. There was a session about AI, specifically for Twitch streamers, and the panel there was both sides right there. One presenter, Sushi Dragon, he's got 300,000 followers. Sushi Dragon wants an AI avatar because he wants to run his channel 24/7. And he needs to sleep, obviously. So if he could have an AI avatar that could take over for the 8 hours while he goes, or 6 hours, or however many hours he sleeps, he would love that. However, another presenter, she rejected the AI avatars because the whole human to human real connection, that's the whole point of her stream. And she knows, or she assumes that an AI would kill that. I think the reality is both are going to do what they're going to do. And you're going to find your own crew. You're going to find your own group of people that think like you, which is what Twitch is all about anyway. So cool. It's neither good nor bad. It's both or neither. And people are going to find their groups. AI, again, because of South Guy's got such a strong vein in sustainability, AI naturally is a part of that. So a lot of these presentations around sustainability, they're very positive about AI, and they're very positive about AI's potential impact for sustainability. They think it could provide smarter mass transit. It can track fishery boats, and cheating across from computer vision and tracking things like that. It can provide more sustainable economics. And overall, AI can enhance the creative approaches to environmental challenges. And there was a number of sessions about this. And by all means, go to the South by website, look at the schedule, look up sustainability and AI, and you'll see dozens and dozens and dozens of sessions on that. AI and creativity. There were several sessions, almost all of which touched on AI at some point. In fact, every session, obviously I biased, but every session I went to, question number 3 or 4 was, okay, what about AI, right? Many sessions treated AI as a tool or a platform to leverage and discussed how best to move forward. Some panel discussions, unfortunately, kind of devolved into the, oh no, will AI take our jobs, or, take our jobs, dialectic. Unfortunate, because I think we're past that at this point. When it got into the music festival, the film festival, some people actually booed openly. And again, that's the film festival part of this, not the interactive festival. So the demographics going to shift a little bit more pure creative. These are the same, not the same, but we're assuming these are the same demographics that led the strike against AI for the studios in Hollywood a couple of years ago. Blockchain, always worth mentioning. Blockchain and Web3 have diminished greatly. They're just not there anymore. Of over 750 sessions in the conference, only a dozen, maybe a dozen, maybe less than a dozen, mentioned blockchain or had anything to do with Web3 at all. Overall, Web3, the term Web3, is morphing into spatial computing, and the Apple Vision Pro is a big part of that. Blockchain still remains as blockchain, but blockchain is just it's just not getting the sexy vibe anymore. It's not center stage. As a side note, one of our analysts went last year to South by. He bought a Starbucks NFT the first day of South by, and then he sold it for 20x 2 days later. Cool. That's not going to happen anymore. Okay, so some of these startups, and again, this is the kind of the focus of South by is the startups, and there were hundreds and hundreds of them, but thankfully, the whole point of South by is to kind of curate that down by category and to pick some winners and to pick some finalists. So let's just kind of walk through them a little bit. We're not going to walk through all of them, but we will walk through the winners for each category, and we'll see where AI is showing up, right? So in the artificial intelligence, robots, and voice category, obviously every player here has an AI play somewhere. There's AI co-pilots, there's multimodal AI applications, there's hyper-personalized videos using AI as kind of positive deepfake technology. There's an AI-based song search. There's AI product photography. There's AI co-pilots and this spatial intelligence. The winner in this category was GAN.ai. And GAN essentially does a deepfake of the spokesperson. So instead of hi, welcome to our store, please come look at our products, they will say, hi, Dave, how are you? Come look at, or hi, James, or hi, Susan, come look at our products and see what see if there's anything you like. The simple science here is that as mammals, when we hear our name, we respond instantly, and we actually pay attention 4 or 5 seconds longer than we would otherwise. So, okay, good, nice trick. It's a deep fake for a positive influence there for shopping. On the enterprise and smart data section, a lot of finalists again. AI for e-commerce, AI for device management, financial professionals with Gen AI pricing operations platform. Again, big data is big data. And so this is, every player here is using big data somewhere. Some of them were very forward about saying, well, we're going to be using AI to actually organize and correlate that data for you, which is one of the core strengths of AI, obviously. Here, the winner was Swift.ai, and they automate compliance and integrate seamlessly with device management through advanced AI for streamlining operations in business. In other words, connect all your IT devices and all your kind of cybersecurity layers and all that, and then it's using a smart AI to kind of manage those IT connected devices for you. Entertainment and media. This was the smallest of the AI overall categories, but the winner here, Opus Clips, and this is the overall winner for the entire show. Opus Clip is a premier AI video editing platform. This is Gen AI for video, and this might be getting overshadowed with the Sora example from OpenAI, because obviously, OpenAI has got billions of dollars now, but Opus Clips is a strong newcomer to this video editing platform. A couple of our friends have used it. They like it a lot. Yeah, and again, yeah, so what makes Opus Clip stand out? Well, it transforms raw footage into viral content, right? So it's smart editing. I don't know, maybe we can use Opus Clip on this webinar and see what happens, right? Extended reality in Web3. And again, this is a year ago, this was blockchain and Web3 and all sorts of Decentraland and Artifact and Roblox and all sorts of metaverse things and Web3 properties, things like that. No, this is rapidly moving towards sports medicine and using VR and AR to kind of interact with your body and the surrounding space. It's switching very quickly to spatial computing. I mean, even as you can see here, spatial computing, automated visual, spatial computing again. And here the winner was Applix, where they introduced a computer vision. So you can use AR glasses in the factory and you could see where your equipment is either performing well or not performing well, and it's using computer vision to kind of track that motion and see if there's any flaws or variants in it. It's actually pretty cool. The food, nutrition, and health. Here again, not all of them, but a few of them. Samo Therapeutics is using AI-powered neuropsychiatry. It's kind of as we know, that a lot of neuropsychiatry is based on feedback loops, and so how can we use AI to, I guess maybe not inject, that's not the right word, to kind of mold and guide that feedback loop with new sounds and new experiences. Xingfang Humanoid Robotics and AI Bioinformatics for Eugenome. SMT Patch won this category. They've got some microneedles. It's just a much better, safer delivery system. So there's no AI there, but it is a nice new potential product. The future of work. This group had some fascinating presentations and some introductions around, and this is frankly, this is the group most focused around how will AI impact the workforce. And this was kind of the core question about, will AI kill all our jobs or will it make all our jobs better? And overall, the general consensus seems to be AI will actually generate more work for everybody. So calm down. We'll just get rid of the repetitive work for everybody, which is what we at Iterate have been saying for a while now. But there are some very interesting angles on this about how can we be inclusive, intersectional with AI, because we all know that AI has got a bias problem, both in terms of maybe LGBTQA representation and also people of color. just because the way that the AIs were trained, and also just because the way that computer vision works with photons. But so there's some people that are doing some very proactive elements to try to bring that in. And here again, Folio Works is the excuse me, the winner in this category, and they are standing out because they are kind of an education platform and kind of an ongoing learning system to help workers face this new world. And they're using Gen AI to both create learning material, but then also to kind of guide the experience for potential new workers or learners. Innovative World Technologies, again, AI across the board. AI automation, deep tech, computer vision, drone automation, AI enhanced analysis, and AI intelligence for strategic partnerships, and AI pricing. And again, this is just kind of an innovative world. It's really just kind of hey, are you innovative? Which everyone at South by is innovative. So this is kind of a catch-all, if you will. Here again, Cephalable empowers users with varied abilities to control technology using voice, head, and facial movements facilitated by AI automation. Essentially, if you think about it, if a disabled person doesn't have full use of their arms or their legs or something like that, a lot of computer interfaces are not that friendly towards them. You can't really use a mouse. You can't really use a keyboard. Well, Cephalable is bringing that a lot. They've got some very cool technologies to kind of allow new methods of motion that then get translated into interactions with the computers. Smart cities. Here again, a lot of, how can we make the world better? Lotus, again, this is just kind of more of a device, but Lotus is a ring, like you see with the Aura device or the 16 Labs ring, but they've got a pointer and a laser on it, so you can kind of control your house. Cool, I want one. Now, last thing to get into this, the technical sessions. And I just want to go through some of the sessions that we went through and just kind of bring out the common notes. I attended a shopping with the future of shopping with AI, a representative from Google, and the the CIO from J.Crew were there. And they went through some of the steps that they're doing with an AI diffusion-based model to do a virtual try-on. Excuse me. Google is using, and J.Crew is using AI to augment the tags on all their products. So if you think about like this black shirt, we know that this shirt is black, it's cotton, it's got a yellow stripe. That's 3 attributes, and it's a size XL. But if you use an AI to just look at this photo of this shirt, the AI could probably fill in 40 more attributes, and you want that for your e-commerce system. Google Labs has a Gen AI image thing where you can just take a picture of your friend and circle the handbag that she's got on her arm, and Google will go find that handbag for you. Very cool. Google LLM is being positioned as a shopping assistant for shoppers. I've got a whole bunch of more notes, so please, by all means, ping me afterwards so we can go through this. By the way, shameless self-promotion here. Everything that J.Crew and Google outlined, Iterate's done before, so you're welcome. Come find me, because we can also do this for you there. Thank you. Spot over. This was the best session I went to. These two instructors from Carnegie Mellon University, Nurul Yildirim and John Zimmerman. I have a huge amount of notes, but I had to boil it down to this. Essentially, they said that the design process is essential to building good products. And a lot of times you've got data scientists or engineers or developers building products, and then they only bring designers in on the last stage. That never works. You've got other cases where designers are coming up with products and they're never grounded in reality because they never bring a developer. The best teams have designers and developers from stage 1 to go all the way through. Now, how does AI fit in that? Well, AI gets rid of a lot of repetitive tasks. It can breed many more permutations or possible permutations for a given product or a given service. And that design can embrace the AI to a lot more visioning and venturing, and it can facilitate a lot more things. And basically, you want to have the inspiration step by step by step and have it an ongoing conversation, which is something that kind of seems, well, yeah, of course we say that, but they actually went through very specific steps. There's a link here to the session. By all means, click on that. This is the best session we attended. Privacy, a big issue. I'm not going to go through all these points here, but essentially, basically, your company data will leak. via an LLM somewhere, someone, because 80% of employees are using OpenAI or some LLM or some SaaS-based LLM out there. That's not all authorized. People are using it all the time. So it's essentially data leaks constantly. I think 4 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, we gave a webinar about private LLMs. That's a big step forward, but you have to face the fact that data will leak eventually anyway. So it's just a matter of when, not how, or excuse me, it's a matter of when and how bad. So some organizations, for example, Johnson & Johnson, they said, look, we want to use LLMs. We want to embrace this. Let's use this internally before we do anything facing the customers. And let's get it buttoned up as tight as we can. And let's make sure that we don't expose any secrets or anything like that. And then once we know what we're doing, we can then open this up to our customer base. And again, on the privacy issue, and most of the issues here did revolve around privacy, because we know that AI and Gen AI and LLMs, they are trained on huge amounts of data, including all of our personal information. A lot of governments, actually in the global south, some of these governments are very far ahead than the developed world. For example, Brazil, Estonia, well, Estonia is not in the global south, but a lot of these smaller countries, just based out of sheer necessity, have been able to leapfrog the bureaucratic demands of the state. And where paperwork was completely arduous before, they've realized, well, look, can't we use AI for document scanning and for ID processing and things like that? Brazil has gone very far away, has gone very forward on this. And Brazil is saving what they think is might be up to 2% of their GDP and just, avoiding wasted inefficiency in the bureaucracy. But Yasodara, she is Brazilian. She set out some rules here. The first law, any digital entity shall proactively safeguard and enhance the well-being of users. The second law, digital entities must operate with transparency. And the third law, digital entries shall return control users' data, respecting their authority in the digital realm. These actually same points are written out in the AI Bill of Rights forwarded by the Biden administration last year. So this seems to be kind of a common theme, that you have to give people sovereignty over their data, and you have to be able to let them turn it off when they can. Intuition. This was a great session. It posited the question, can we have collective intuition, which is an interesting concept. And then the other main question here was, if you're trying to move a product or a project or a service or something, if you're trying to move your ideas forward, there's basically 3 ways to do it. Do you do a data first approach? Do you ask the customers what they want, or do you sit down and come up with ideas? Steve Jobs would just come up with ideas and say, hey, I think this is where this is going. I don't care what the data says. We're going to build the iPad, or we're going to build the iPhone, or we're going to build the Mac. Other companies pursue relentless incremental A/B testing of data, things like that. Amazon would be the other, Amazon pursues a relentless A/B flywheel methodology. This conversation revolved around how can AI affect that one way or the other. Unfortunately, they didn't really finish that thought. They kind of said, there's both schools of thought here. And then unfortunately, it kind of devolved into the same old, does AI kill creativity or does AI save creativity? To which at that point, oof, man, we've heard this 18 times over the last few days. Come on, you were really onto something about that collective intuition. So as takeaway homework, please listen to this, see what you think about it, and maybe kind of kick your own mind around on how does your team approach creative, not brainstorming, but creative project forwarding, right? The sessions cannot all be great. There was one, she gave a keynote and it was going great for the first 5 minutes. She was talking about AI and what might be possible, but then she kind of went a hard left turn into blockchain and NFTs and tokenization on everything. It actually got to the point where she was saying that they're now talking about tokenizing space junk in orbit on the blockchain, and then that will ensure an orderly cleanup of the orbits. And at that point, everyone in the big room was starting to kind of chuckle a little bit. So what are you talking about, right? I thought it was me, but I talked to 10 people afterwards. I said, look, was it me, or did that kind of go off left a turn after about 10 minutes? And they said, no, that was, we didn't understand the space junk thing either. So cool. It's awesome that South by is there on the cutting edge. They can't all be great, but most of them were great. Last but not least, I'm not going to go through this, but if anyone's in quantum computing, we're going to be talking about quantum computing up in a few weeks. There's some very cool things going on with hybrid systems and how you might have multivariate equations going on that could be solved with a QPU. That's a hard thing to say, but a quantum computer. The interesting thing about this panel, it was 4 people, including some representatives, some of the current quantum computing players. Nobody talked about the NSA. Nobody talked about codes. No one talked about anything. In fact, the panel leader asked about the NSA, and everyone intentionally avoided the question. It was actually quite obvious that they're all getting paid by the NSA to crack codes, and none of them are at liberty to talk about that because, for obvious reasons. We know that Wall Street is using quantum computing. We know that Wall Street will not say that they're using quantum computing because there's billions of dollars at stake, and why let the other bank know what they're doing? There's also some very interesting plays with logistics in quantum computing, and this might come up. And I'm sorry, I'm foreshadowing for our next webinar on this, but there might be some very real cases where quantum computing is available as a hybrid system SaaS now, and that might be something to look at for you. I think that's the end of it. Thank you, as always, D Jenkins at Iterate.ai, and thanks for your time.